Boa noite. Ele é um esporte que reúne talento, ginga, habilidade, raça, coragem e espírito de equipe. E não é o futebol. Ele é o rugby e a maior personificação de um esporte de alcance global é a seleção da Nova Zelândia. Você vai conhecer agora a história de uma paixão. A história dos homens que se vestem de preto, os All Blacks.
Rugby is the #1 sport in New Zealand, but many people it's much more than that. It's life, it's what they go to for strength, and the All Blacks is obviously their team. We live and breathe rugby through the All Blacks here in New Zealand, and it's something very special.
It's our religion. It's what we breathe as soon as we're born.
When they first grew up as a 2-3-year-old, the first sport that comes to mind for them, well, the first ball that they get given is probably a rugby ball. It's like the Brazil at football.
This game's been played here for over 100 years, and the All Blacks have been very successful over that 100 years, the most successful rugby team in the world.
When the first colonisers come to New Zealand, they brought this tough and kind of hard person to New Zealand, you know, to break the land and to turn New Zealand into basically a farm, a big farm for England and for Europe. So those people were hard men to start off with, you know, so, you know, could you imagine those hard men kicking the soccer ball around and falling on the ground like the Italian and French soccer players do, you know? So these men had to be hard, and I think rugby fitted in with these type of people. Plus, I think the Māori people, who are the indigenous people of New Zealand, obviously, you know, who are a warrior race, who like combat, who like battling, you know, the battle. And I think the rugby suited that aspect of the Māori culture as well.
We're a big race of multiple nationalities that create Kiwis as they are today, but predominantly we are Polynesian. A lot of Polynesian players are big-boned and big boys. They like getting physical.
Ils sont tous solides et pas très drôles, quoi, quand ils sont sur un terrain. Non, mais c'est ça. Ils ont été faits pour ça. On dirait que là-bas, ils ont un moule et qu'ils les passent tous dedans quand ils sont petits et ils finissent balèzes et prêts à jouer au rugby. Leur gabarit et leur culture fait que on m'aurait dit que c'était eux qui avaient inventé le sport, je l'aurais cru, quoi.
You can't go surfing without a surfboard, mate. You can't go into battle as an All Black without the haka, mate. Jeepers creepers, they are raw tonight. You know, you can tell. They've been kept in a cage during the day, mate, and fed raw granite. You know, they're ready to go. You can sense that in the haka. You can feel it.
The people around globally look at the haka as a performance, or it's not. Haka to us is a significant meaning of what we're about and where we're from. It's a religion. It's our culture. It's feeling the unity within the team and the people beside you. And as I said before, it's respecting of what's the ancestries have done for you to create your life.
It's my way of announcing to the world I am Māori and I'm here to go into combat.
Haka in Māori means dance. Okay, so there's so many different types of dances for the Māori. The most well-known haka of the All Blacks is obviously the kamiti haka, which has been around for the last 100 or so years in New Zealand rugby. The kamiti haka actually comes from my tribe, which is the Ngāti Tō Rangatira tribe. Our chief in the 1800s was a person called Te Raupaha, and Te Raupaha was a very well-known warrior throughout New Zealand. Te Raupaha was being chased by an enemy. You know, he arrives into a little village and he asks the chief of the village to hide him. So the chief hides him in a kumara pit. And he goes, "Kamate, kamate." You know, I'm dead, because you can hear, you know, the enemies. The enemies go away. Kaora, kaora. I'm alive, because they've gone. They come back, the enemies. Kamate, kamate. I'm dead. Eventually, the chief of the village convinces the enemies to go away. Kaora, kaora, I'm alive. Tēnei te tangata puhuru, huru nā I te ki mai whakawhiti tērā. Te Raupaha actually thanks the chief, who was a very hairy man. Puhuru, puhuru. Thanks the hairy man for saving his life and thanking him that one day he'll be able to see the sun. Tērā. Aupane, kopane, upane, kopane, fiti tērā. Te Raupaha starts walking up the steps of the kumara pit, walking up the steps, opens up the lid, fiti tērā, sees the sun, he's alive.
You know, sort of trying to justify how that related to rugby was probably one of the most difficult questions to answer. I think it was from Andrew Mertens at the time. He sort of said, "So, what has this haka got to do with rugby?" And I just thought I'd start with honesty and just say, well, absolutely nothing. But if we were to look at it in another way, well, I suppose someone's trying to escape, someone's in pursuit, and ultimate survival is, I suppose, in your guys' case, getting the try.
Maxwell came to us to teach the All Blacks the haka. You know, he said to the boys, "Oh, show me your haka." And he goes, "Oh, is that it?" And I said, yeah, that's it. He goes, "Oh, I thought it was stink, it was shit, you know." And I said, "Oh, he's this little prick telling me that my haka was shit." He ripped off his shirt, you know, and all of a sudden, like, I'm getting goosebumps now, look at me.
No, I'm right down their face, and to the particular ones that were sort of giving me that look of, you know, what's this little upstart saying? And I just, you know, right in on them and just held it right there. And then I looked at them and said, "Now that's how you do a haka."
This guy went from here to this massive being, just his aura, his persona just was massive. And the way that he did this haka, I was just standing there, just my jaw was dropped, and I was going, this came out of this little Māori man.
Yamo! Hey! Ringa pakia! Wai taga heia kia kina nei wake! Wai kina nei wake!
you're like an earthquake. You're like a rumbling earthquake inside that it's just boiling up in there. And the way that it comes out ends up being with the tongue, you know, when we... And that's really sort of a huge mark of defiance.
I can remember sometimes just starting the haka and finishing it, but not actually doing it. You know, that's how focused and intense I've been. There's times where I've just about passed out.
When I perform the haka, I definitely think of where I came from. I think of my family, and I think, you know, past players through one way or another. It's like the Māori community. Someone's always related to someone. We're related to each other, so we have that really close family connection. And when you bring your family into the haka with you, then I guess you'll do anything to protect it, and I guess the emotions just tend to come out.
À chaque fois que je me suis retrouvé en face de cet instant, ça m'a motivé. J'ai eu envie de me bagarrer avec eux, quoi. Ça m'a donné vraiment envie de me bagarrer, quoi, et de tout y laisser.
And the first time that they did kapo pango and they did the fucking that, everyone went, oh, no, and the rest of us went, yeah, you know, because it was just another level.
Surprisingly, I didn't find it intimidating. I was thoroughly, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic, even though we got a hiding by 40 points.
We have uncles and aunties and cousins all buried in the earth beside one another, and they're all have been representing our country, which means if we have people that have passed through our lives in our country, which has historically come from a Maori ancestry, that also means that we're a part of them as well. So that's what we are as New Zealanders, and that's what we believe in the All Blacks, is that we're all as one, whether you're Samoan, Tongan, Fijian, or New Zealander, or Maori, or European. We believe that we have created a country, has an identity, and a haka is a significant meaning to that.
The success of the All Blacks brings a lot of pride into the country, and people want to continue with that tradition. And that brings passion, that brings heart, that brings the family, if you like.
I started playing rugby when I was 6 years old, and to me rugby was all about enjoyment, playing with your mates, you know, whether it's out on the backfield with your schoolmates or out on the rugby field with your Crusader or All Black teammates. And that's something that I pass on to every kid that I talk to. Make sure you always enjoy it.
We're lucky to have that culture in New Zealand, so sports is a big part of our life. It's good for solidarity, it's good for character building, gives you discipline, and most of all, rugby is probably one of the most enjoyable games to play.
It's like a house, like anything. You need a foundation to build on, you know. So it has to be a solid and a good foundation. And you know, you have this foundation, then it works your way up, and then you get to the top, and you have the All Blacks up there, you know. So exactly, that's what grassroots rugby is. It's a foundation.
So you start rugby in New Zealand maybe as a 5-year-old. That would be the earliest you'd start. You play for your local club. So somewhere near where you live, there's a rugby club. And in most areas, there's lots of rugby clubs.
A lot of it's built on community spirit, you know, and if you go to those country areas, the main focal point of those communities is the rugby club. So all the mums and dads take their kids down to the local club on a Saturday morning, they're running around in bare feet. I went through all that. I was running around in bare feet when I was 5 years old in New Zealand, and it's 5 degrees outside and it's raining. You know, I think it builds a bit of character, you know, that's what it builds.
Here at the club, it's like one big family, you know. You've got, in different teams, you've got all family members, you know, from that community who have always played for the club. And that's why I believe the heart of New Zealand rugby is actually in the clubs. It's the elitist, the All Blacks is the ultimate, you know, that's where everybody wants to get. But in reality, this is where it all exists. And without the clubs, I don't think New Zealand rugby would be strong as what it is.
Having a very strong grassroots rugby, whether it be age grade rugby through kids or a strong club competition, that gives New Zealand depth. It gives people out there that aren't so good or even starting out towards a professional career, it gives them somewhere to start.
So the whole structure of our New Zealand rugby system is built around identifying that talent. So effectively, you know, from day one, there's an opportunity for people to see you.
The top teams like the All Blacks and the Canterbury Crusaders, the Wellington Hurricanes and all that, they actually go back into their own communities and go and do road shows and visit all the local teams and encourage the kids at a young age.
Whenever I get some spare time, I'm out coaching my local club team. You know, a small village of 1,000 people have a rugby team, and that's where I was born and grew up in Southbridge, and that's where I pay a lot of my success to, is my time playing in the Southbridge colours. That's where I learnt my skills, and that's where it all began.
I'm very lucky. I've got a son that plays rugby, and it's actually my dad. He's the coach. My wife's the manager, and I'm a part-time coach, so I coach when I'm home. I can tell you, as a dad, it's pretty cool being a coach, because you get to see the people he hangs around with, and if I don't think the people are right, then he won't be hanging around with them. So you get to see a little bit more of my son's life, so that's pretty awesome.
Captain of the Blues, and we're really happy to be up here. So I hope you had a good day. I'll pass it on to our next one.
Well, everyone, my name is Derek Parker. Play wing for the Blues, and my favourite ice cream is mint ice cream. So that's good. Thank you.
Rugby club's important because that's where our future All Blacks are, especially at junior level. That's where young kids learn to enjoy the game and then have the dreams of being an All Black.
When I was young, I used to look at All Blacks. You know, they were playing a test match in Carisbrook and Dunedin, where I was born. And I remember going around, running down to the area with 2,000 or 3,000 other school kids as soon as the bell rang to watch these All Blacks train. And it was just, it was like watching a god run around the field.
I used to look up to certain All Blacks, and they used to really make me drive, and I used to be out in the backyard pretending to be, you know, John Kerwins or Andrew Murdens, guys like that. When you're young, you want to have role models, people to look up to, and I was very fortunate to have my father. He was my role model. He helped me train. He provided some goalposts for me to kick over. He was extremely supportive, whether we won or lost, you know, games. He was always there to support me. He'd travel long distances to watch me play, and having that kind of support is just fantastic, and it really does help you succeed and help you enjoy the game.
You'll usually find that the mums are really loud down on the sideline and the dads are like, oh yeah, that's my son, you know, arms folded, looking like that. We're all yelling, basically. It's a big social event for the parents, supporting their kids.
I was very lucky to have my dad that when he finished work, when he finished long day's work, he'd he'd drive me to training and back, and then go back to work that evening. And my mum was always there to help me pack my bag. Like, I can tell she always had the iron out and had my stuff mostly pressed and stuff, so I was pretty lucky. But just knowing that they really supported what I did, it's definitely been a big key to why I'm here today.
Ripper Rugby for us is the sort of entry point for young boys and girls to be able to play the game at a very safe level and also a very accessible level.
Ripper Rugby is basically a modified version of rugby union. It's a non-contact version of it, so boys and girls can play together, different sizes can play together, and that's what makes the game so good. Basically, you have a belt, Velcro belt, and there's 2 tags that run down your waist, and to effect a tackle, you have to rip one of the tags off.
Behind the ball, behind the ball. They go with it, somebody has to go with it. Quick, get that rip.
It's a good way to introduce kids to rugby, to the skill of passing a rugby ball, and to catching one, to drawing an opposition and passing, looking for space and moving the ball. I think it's good for that. But I think that the kids that are into rugby, I think you've got to get them into tackle rugby pretty early, though. But the skills you learn in Ripper Rugby, you can transfer into any kind of ball sport.
We have a system in New Zealand where there's no contact to, I think, the age of 10, and then you're allowed to tackle. And a lot of parents, when they get to 10, and they see a 70-kilo, 10-year-old kid in their son's team, and their son's 45 kilos dripping wet, they don't want their son to get hurt. And the guys that do come through are the ones that the parents push them out there and say, well, you've got to learn somehow, and they end up being the great players of today.
Pour avoir vu de l'enthousiasme et le travail que fournissaient les petits lors de séances d'entraînement, mais même plutôt ludiques, parce que quand on est petit, le rugby reste un sport, un jeu. Je les ai vus se mettre excusez-moi du terme, mais des vrais branlés à faire du physique, à ne plus en pouvoir, mais des petits qui avaient 10 ans, 11 ans.
I have been playing rugby for 3 years, and I think I have a good player at playing rugby because I've got a good attitude for a team player. I started playing rugby when I was 6, and because my mum didn't want me sitting around just playing the game all day, so then she got me to play rugby.
It looks like fun, tackling and scoring tries, yeah, playing with friends, family.
You can tackle people and you can run a lot.
Até nos momentos mais intensos, Rexonaman te protege mais que outros, mesmo após 48 horas. Rexonaman, a proteção duradoura que não te abandona.
As câmeras já estão posicionadas para você não perder um detalhe. A 12ª edição do Big Brother Brasil está quase começando. E a partir de dezembro, você já vai poder entrar no clima da competição, revendo os melhores momentos das últimas edições. BBB em pay-per-view. Assine agora e garanta descontos especiais para espiar à vontade.
Eu sou assinante da NET, né? Bom, a minha história é... Eu mudei a minha TV antiga por uma nova, dessas fininhas. Só que aqui em casa a imagem da TV não tinha nada a ver com a da loja, né? Aí que eles me falaram, não adianta você comprar uma TV de alta definição se a imagem estiver embaixo. E é por isso que eu assinei NET HD. E cara, eu vou te falar, é animal. Futebol, o filme fica assim, cara. Nossa, essa é a minha dica. TV HD, NET HD também.
I have a son who's 9 years old. He has played since he was 5. He watches every rugby game there is on TV. He watches it over and over again. You know, he'll tape it and watch it. He will go out and practice what he's seen on TV. He was having trouble with maths at school, so we incorporated rugby in his learning by going, I've got 14 Joe Rocacocos, I'm going to take 10 Dan Carters away, what's the number and who have I got left? And he would go, it's Brad Thorne and it's number 4.
All the girls have jobs or their mothers or their students, so yeah, it is definitely the passion, and I don't think that'll ever change, and I don't think we'll ever rely on the chance of it turning professional. Since I started playing in the New Zealand team in 1990, I think we've had maybe 3 losses over that period of time. So, you know, in 21 years, we've done pretty well.
Well, the Black Ferns are a team we're incredibly proud of. They've now gone and won 4 World Cups in a row, which is an amazing achievement. Despite our isolation here and the small number of games they get between those world tournaments, they're able to front up, and no one demonstrates this better than Anna. I think she's been to all 4 and perform, and we're very, very proud of them.
I'd say train hard, because if you're not fit, you can never play to your potential, and always practice your skills. And I think that's what I've done from the get-go. Is every year, you know, I just pick a skill and I practice it, and there's always ways you can improve your game. You know, you're not bigger than the game, and you can never be the best. There's always room for improvement.
Put away in the kitty.
That's all we've ever known, you know, is rugby, rugby, rugby. We're not like the UK where there's soccer and that over here it's just rugby, and you're brought up with it. You breathe it, you eat it, you watch it. It's just rugby, yeah. And drink it. Drink rugby. It is, it's a disease, eh? It's an infectious disease, and it just gets inside every Kiwi's head, I reckon, and they just love it.
I wanted to get a tattoo, you know, but I wanted it to mean something, and for me it was about self-discovery, discovering what Māori is and what Māori means to me, and, you know, art was always a way of discovering Māori, my Māoridom for me, and I just thought what a great way of portraying one's life. So two pieces here, and in each one of them there are three which represent past, present and future. You know, the past being mum and dad, the present was when I got my tattoo, and the future is what my life from then. On this arm is me coming down. You got the mangopari, and the mangopari is the hammerhead shark. It's aggressive, it's very ferocious, it's also got integrity, it's very loyal, you know, and it's very protective. And for me, that just sums me up. And the mangopari comes down here, then it comes right through here into my wife, and then my two daughters and my son, and they're portrayed through that. And so that's my first three children here, and my other three children on this side.
A lot of moko tāmokus is representative of your family and your heritage. I have one on my forearm that represents my brother and I. You know, we're both closely related, and it's something that you know, just that both of us carry with us together. I have another one on my shoulder which just represents the iwi, so the tribes that my mother and father come from, and it brings them all together pretty much just to which creates myself. And I guess it's just, you know, knowing that wherever I travel all over the world, I'm, you know, taking my family with me, taking my heritage and my culture with me.
Moko is named after the lizard. And you've never seen so many lizards as what lives on this land. The reason why we call it moko is because one day all these lizards are looking old and tired, and then they just step out of their skin. They are born anew, as we are when we adorn ourselves. So moko is not a pattern. Moko is not a tattoo. Moko is a transformation. Ko te pō mua, ko te pō roto, ko te pō whakauranga. Ātu ki te tangata marurangi ki te taio. Ko kiri mate, mi hoki ki te ora. Ke mihi, whano, haere mai te tauki. Homi e, hui e, tai ki e. Pai marere. Amen.
The ink is made by taking the sap of this tree, burning it on a fire. We then collect it on a cold stone and then ground and ground and ground with sacred water from a spring from this land. It's the blood of the Creator that we have burnt ceremonially, and then we put it into our skin. And when it's in our skin, this carbon, you can DNA test it, and it is me. It unites me with this land.
When I was a young fella back in New Zealand, I had an option of going to two schools. One was called a technical college, one was called a high school. And to go to the high school, you had to be accepted into that high school. And the reason I wanted to go to that high school was because it had a very well-known U15. But that's how important it was even back in my day to play for a well-known rugby school, and also for the school to have some potentially very good players.
Well, everybody goes to high school, but not everybody plays rugby at high school, and some players may not come through that system. Can't think of one, so they're very few and far between. So the vast majority of professional rugby players in this country and All Blacks have come through a secondary school that fosters the game, the vast majority. And they play in very competitive competitions, and therefore through those competitions and through good coaching, they develop into quality players.
My role as first 15 coach is also to identify and develop the players that are coming in as third formers, which is our Year 9, the equivalent of starting high school. And we run a rugby academy for Year 9 players, so they can actually choose rugby as a subject. So they have all their normal subjects, maths, English, science, but they can also choose rugby as a subject, where they'll come to me for 3 periods a week, and we'll just specifically work on rugby skills, conditioning work, mental skills, and anything related to rugby to better prepare them as they move on. So as soon as they come to the school, they're getting a really good induction process into the rugby and the culture associated with the school. Yeah, no spirals, boys, just pass the ball. Just move the ball, move the ball. Run into space.
Overs. Yeah.
Too early, too early. Hold the depth, Junior. That's better. Good, boys, 5 burpees where you are. Okay, back into your lanes. The system that we have at the school tends to develop these players just through the exposure, and it's very competitive at our school to make any of our top teams. So we have a top team in each year group, and there may be 6 to 8 players in each position vying for a position in that team. And I think that's the big difference with us, is we have that competitive aspect just to get into one of our top teams, let alone moving on to representative rugby.
The first 15 of every high school, major high school of New Zealand, basically these kids are the superstars of their school. They're the next role models of the school. Because of the mana, of the importance that rugby has in these schools.
Yeah,
Rugby means to me is a real man sport. That's when you let out all your emotions out on the rugby field. It's when you show the talents that, if you have a religion that the Lord have given you, hopefully one day I get to be wearing the black jersey or some jersey that's up there.
When I come in, all I thought was just rugby was just catch the ball, run, you know, and tackle, and putting the ball over the line. Well, throughout my years, you get into academies in New Zealand rugby, you get into club systems, you get into school systems where they teach you a bit more technical-wise with how to run more properly, how to create opportunities, and you learn along the ways, and that's been the benefit from players like myself and the guys that have gone through the system.
Secondary rugby, especially in New Zealand, I would say is almost as professional as some of the lower upper grade, you know, the NPC players and things like that, especially in terms of training and development of the players.
That's where you learn the values of what playing rugby is all about, and I think that's what we have here in New Zealand is the reason people play is because of the enjoyment and the camaraderie that comes with it, and you learn that at school, you know, playing with your best friends on a Saturday when you're at school with them every day. That's where you, I guess, get a huge amount of enjoyment.
Tate Harrison. I'm 18. I've been on the first 15 for 4 years now, and I'm this year's captain. Yeah, I'm the open side flanker. I decided to come to Rotorua Boys High because it had more opportunities than my little town. And it's had a real good history for a strong rugby culture.
No matter what colour you are or where you're from, we always gel together and come together as one and perform on the field, not for yourselves, but for everyone.
Our boys certainly not prejudiced. They're just glad to be out on the field, and if our first 15, if you have the opportunity to be in our shed and to put on that jersey and go and play on number one, then we'll all be brothers for life.
You know, rugby's the ultimate team sport where 14 guys are working to get a 15th guy to score a try. It's we before me. The individual's important, but the we as a team and we as a group of people are more important than the individuals.
Let's go get the bag straight up, waiting for our mates. Beautiful, beautiful.
As an 18-year-old, or even earlier at school, college days, we were professional in our attitude. And there was no going out to the school dances on the Friday night if we were playing on Saturday. We'd be trained 4 nights a week. I was at a Catholic all-boys school and coached by the priests and training 4 days a week. And you wanted to train 5. You just wanted to be out there playing. You just wanted to play, and so the discipline was already instilled in you as a youngster.
There has to be a lot of sacrifice made to reach the levels of being an All Black or playing rugby professional. You have to eat well. You have to train hard. You have to party a little bit less. You know, sacrifices, because at the end of the day, it's not easy what we do. If it was easy, then everyone would be doing it.
They play from 13, 14 up to about 18 for their school. Then they either go to university and start playing for their university or for a rugby club in their university city. And then once you finish your university, you either carry on playing for your rugby club in your local area, or you might move to a job. You move to a city or a town in New Zealand, and every town or city's got numerous rugby clubs, and you play for your rugby club. If you're the best in your club, you start playing for your rep team. The best of the best then go to Super Rugby. If you're a Super Rugby player, you become a full-time rugby player or a professional, and then obviously the best of the best out of the Super 15 become All Blacks.
The Super 15, I think, is the best professional competition in the world. So it's very competitive. It's played in very good conditions, so it's a good spectacle. So players develop skill, and so it all helps.
After I finished the Rangatahi College, I went back to my club who I played for when I was younger, and I played for them for the first 2 seasons, and I was lucky enough that the Wellington coach was watching my club game, had a lucky break and made the Hurricanes, and then sort of went into the All Blacks.
It's something quite special, something you can't really put into words. It's something that you work so hard for, and to have it pay off and have the black jersey in your hands and have the silver fern on your chest is something, you know, really, really special and unique. There's not too many players around the world that can say that they've put the black jersey on.
While I was coming up, you know, I'd see players that played test after test after test, and I always wondered why. And it wasn't until I actually got my jersey that I went, right, this is mine now, and I'm the guardian of this jersey, you know, until someone else comes and get it. But you better come and get it, because I'm not going to give it back to you, you know. You've got a fight on your hands. If, you know, you might win it for one test match, but I'm going to win it back. And I've even played with injuries, you know, just so that no one else could get a look in my jersey until, you know, I decided to give it up.
Quand on est black, on est pour la vie, quoi.
And you hear Dan Carter and all these guys say, every time I get my jersey before a game, an All Black game, I respect it, I'm grateful. Because there's so much, energy in that jersey.
C'est l'équipe qui a toujours sorti les meilleurs joueurs, qui est la plus constante, qui est la plus redoutée et qui est peut-être la plus belle à regarder jouer.
C'est pratiquement indéfinissable quand on parle d'All Black. C'est quelque chose qu'on voudrait toucher du doigt et que l'on n'arrive pas à expliquer. Les Blacks, c'est véritablement mythique, quoi. Ce sont des idoles, c'est véritablement la plus belle façon dont on peut être reconnu.
All Blacks are put up on a pedestal. They are the hope of the country. You take a lot on your shoulders when you represent New Zealand, and there's a lot of people in your country that's relying on you to play the best you can, and you know you can't win everything. And there's been a few tough games during the wars of rugby, you know, and I'm sure the French will remember a few games, you know, and a couple of World Cups. So, you know, it's always, you know, people never forget that. But every time you play, big responsibility.
I was so scared of losing with that jersey on that it builds this pressure within you, you know, because you'll be disgracing that jersey, you'll be disgracing the people that have worn that jersey before you. You'll be even a disgrace to your country, you know, and to all your family and everybody else around you. So, you know, when you come off the field and you've won, there wasn't really the joy of winning. It was just like the pressure was just relaxed. Oh God, you know, we didn't lose today. Thank God, you know, because I've put this jersey on today, and you never lose being an All Black. You know, you never lose.
You have an expectation. I think that expectation's with you all the time. That people do their best, and hopefully that expectation's in the All Blacks. Not only my expectation, but everybody else's in New Zealand.
All the things that probably represent New Zealanders as a people, you could probably see in a game of rugby. You've got the physical nature of it, you've got the contact, and you've got an element in rugby that you need is a mental strength. And, you know, that spirit is really, well, it's well supported by the All Blacks, isn't it? History will show you that. And it's a small country, it's us against the world, and we want to show that we can exist, and we've done a pretty good job so far.
Esporte.doc. Apoio Itaú. Mude 2012 e conte com o Itaú.
Em 2011, a gente vibrou em alta definição, curtiu mega velocidades, se ligou a muitas pessoas, teve tudo na hora em que quis. 2011 passou rápido como na fibra ótica, mas deu tempo de muita coisa acontecer para os nets. E em 2012, queremos continuar juntos para fazer muito mais. Boas festas. Para os nets, é agora.
Zona de Impacto. Apoio Itaú Mude 2012 e conte com o Itaú.
Dedicamos esse final de ano a quem vai fazer o ano que vem.
A pessoa que, mesmo sabendo dos problemas do mundo, vai encontrar um momento de gênio e de inspiração. A quem ignora o pessimismo e encontra a esperança dentro dele mesmo. A quem não fica esperando previsões astrológicas favoráveis, que vai lá e faz, transforma, que muda. Dedicamos 2012 a você.
Mude 2012, mude o mundo e conte com o Itaú para mudar com você.
Zona de impacto do outro lado do mundo, na Austrália, mostrando para vocês um especial que vai contar a vida dos brasileiros que moram aqui na Oceania, no surf, skate, para boys, os locais mais temidos no mundo do surf hoje. A zona de impacto vai passar por Sydney, Byron Bay, pela Gold Coast. Então se liga aí, mate, a zona de impacto está no ar. Vamos marquei aqui na esquina com os brasileiros que moram em Sydney para mostrar pra gente as ondas, as praias ao redor desse lugar. Beleza?
Welcome to Sydney.
Qual é, Gabriel? Beleza?
Beleza, prazer, Maurício.
Maurício.
Beleza?
Beleza, Fabrício.
Bora, Gaça.
O surf?
O surf.
Tá bem o carro aqui, hein? Onde a gente está chegando aí, Maurício?
Agora a gente está chegando aqui no Norte Narrabeen, uma das praias mais famosas de Sydney para surf. Vamos encontrar agora o Terry Fitzgerald, Kieran e Lillian.
What, just my name?
Yeah, just to...
I'm Terry Fitzgerald from North Terry Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
North Narrabeen surfer.
Agora a gente vai começar a dar o rolê pelas praias aqui de Sydney. Primeira parada, Maurício.
Primeira parada é aqui no Norte Narrabeen.
This beach represents, particularly in Sydney, represents the most incredible amount of energy, producing world champions, club champions, plus it's the best surf. Well, maybe not the best surf, but it always has surf.
Yes.
Quando o swell está de norte com vento de leste, forma perfeitas esquerdas que abrem da ponta até o car park. Aqui no car park a gente tem outra onda que eles falam car park point.
This is our way to reserve North Narrabeen for surfers.
Yes.
Is to make a reserve. So we're very, very proud of this, and I think it's something that special beaches around the whole world.
Norte Narrabeen é conhecido por forte localismo e pelas perfeitas ondas que tem aqui. Sem esse adesivo não surfa aqui. Sem esse adesivo ninguém surfa no Norte Narrabeen. Não é qualquer um que surfa porque o nível de surf é muito alto e para nós da comunidade brasileira sempre teve essa barreira, mas fui conhecendo um local e outro, como o Kieran, que eu vou te apresentar daqui um pouco, e o Kieran abriu as portas aqui do Norte Narrabeen para mim.
So many things and good people, world champions have come from Narrabeen. You know, you have the inventor of three fins, Simon Anderson. You know, he's from Narrabeen. And then sticking with fins, FCS inventor Brian Whitaker, he's from Narrabeen. You know, you've got Brett Warner, surfboards, he's from Narrabeen. Hob Butted, the Fitzgeralds, you know, Terry Fitzgerald, Joel, Kai.
This guy is speaking Portuguese.
É, fala mais ou menos. Porque minha esposa é brasileira, tem duas crianças brasileiras. Brozzies.
Brozzies?
Elas é Brozzies, yeah. Half Brazilian, half Aussie. You know.
Então falar de surf sem falar daqui, a gente está esquecendo de uma parte muito importante.
Yeah, of course.
Ele entende tudo em português, aí o cara vai falar em português, o cara acaba pegando. Eu só descobri depois, ainda bem que eu não falei bobagem, né?
I can understand, they're paddling out there, fala baixo.
Fala baixo que eu entendo aqui, né?
Português aqui.
Obrigado. Obrigado. Vamos nessa. Aqui a gente está chegando numa fábrica de pranchas de um brasileiro. Vou pegar as pranchas e vamos dar um rolê. Você mora aqui faz tempo?
Cara, já moro aqui há 4 anos, morava na Califórnia há 24.
Você é de onde?
Do Rio.
Do Rio de Janeiro. Saiu do Brasil quantos anos?
27 anos.
27 anos? 27 Nem é brasileiro mais.
Claro que eu sou, né? Sou flamenguista também, né, Brian?
E tipo de prancha assim que o pessoal mais usa aqui? Pranchinha normal?
Pranchinha normal, é. De 5,10 a 6,3 é o máximo que eu faço. Agora pro verão faz direto também. Esse aqui é uma 5,10. Tem essa aqui uma 5,8. 4 quilos.
Essa aqui? Será que não é muito pequena, não? Como é que vai estar a ondinha hoje?
Essa minha é 5,8. Se for legal, tem bastante volume. Tá em cima dele?
Onde que a gente está, então?
Aqui é Caucau. Caucau é perto de Manly, tipo 2 praias de Manly. Manly é a praia mais famosa das praias do norte de Sydney aqui. Caucau é um dos melhores lugares para surfar. Quando não tem onda em outros lugares, Caucau geralmente é um lugar que mais tem onda. Na Rabinha é um pico bom, o pico que vocês estavam hoje. Também Newport, onde é o Tom Quero nasceu e surfou, também é outro pico bom pra caramba. Então nós vamos dar uma testada aí, vamos ver como é que tá o surf. Os caras daqui mesmo nem saem da água.
Quando tem tubarão, eles ficam?
Ficam. Eu saí, meia dúzia de caras saiu do lado ali, mas com a maioria fica, velho.
Faz parte da cultura, faz parte do environment.
Tá, então aqui a praia, quando não tem onda, vem pra cá, é isso?
Aqui é recreação. Meu parceiro Bruno aqui. Deu uma união aí de experiência e talento. Botamos uma churrascaria no Crossnet, 5 minutinhos do centro de Sydney, chamada Barbecue.
Bar de gaúcho?
Gaúcho, vocês são barbaridade, né?
Vocês são de onde?
Nós somos todos gaúchos, eu sou de Porto Alegre, ele é de Caxias do Sul.
Eu tô há 4 anos aqui.
Eu já faz 8 anos que eu tô na Austrália, sempre fui chefe de cozinha, saí do Brasil pra ser cozinheiro e chefe de cozinha. E aí conheci o Fabrício há 4 anos atrás, logo que ele chegou aí, provei o churrasco do Galdério aí, já comecei a criar uma ideia, pô, esse cara aí vale a pena, hein?
Aí
Mas você veio pra cá pra ser churrasqueiro?
Não, carpinteiro. Carpinteiro aqui, fiz churrasco a vida inteira. E tenta aqui, né, botar um negócio.
Não, mas a sua história, assim, você era carpinteiro no Brasil ou não?
Era no Brasil. No Brasil e no México. Eu tive uma passagem de 4 anos pelo México e peguei bastante experiência de vida e de profissão. Voltei pro Brasil, fiquei um tempo, voltei, aí vim pra Austrália para tentar vida no primeiro mundo. E um país igual ao Brasil, de clima, né? Tropical, primeiro mundo.
Dá saudade de casa, do Brasil?
Dá saudade, faz falta o picolé na beira da praia, um pastelzinho de siri, casquinha de siri, a caipirinha.
Tudo.
Mas o resto é muito bom.
Surfar sem onda e com tubarão, pra que isso, Bruno? Se tivesse ainda onda, eu entrava por causa do tubarão, tudo bem. Foi surfar, tinha tubarão. Agora não tem onda e tem tubarão, a água fria, o cara tá medindo, né? Olha só, a gente vai mostrar pra vocês um menino do patinete na Austrália. O nome dele é David. Um moleque que faz coisas que vocês não acreditam. I used to see it, but it's older.
Oh, yeah.
You know, do you remember that at the beginning?
Oh, yeah, they call them the razors.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one here is probably about 850 Australian dollars for this one. very well made, very strong, and nothing. It's all really solid, very solid.
Good to ride.
Good to ride.
Yeah.
So let's ride.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
How old are you?
12.
12. And can you explain what is this? It's a patinette, but you know.
Yeah. This is a scooter. That's the front wheel there. And we call these things forks to hold the front wheel and the bars as well. I do lots of tricks like tail whips, bri flips, 360s, and yeah, lots.
There's a lot of people doing this in Australia?
Heaps of people.
Yes?
Yeah.
And how do you start? Because it looks like a mix of skating and bike, you know?
Yeah. Well, you just got to practice as much as you can.
He goes in the school holidays. He will go every day. He's very, very dedicated, and he practices a lot.
Olha que esse moleque faz.
I surf all the time.
Yeah.
He comes surfing with me some of the time, not all the time. But from the very beginning, no helmet, no scoot. Not negotiable. He has to wear a helmet. So.
A gente veio para Maroubra, no sul de Sydney. Deixamos as praias do norte e viemos até aqui para conhecer um pouco da história de Sonny Alberton, que é o xerife aqui do pessoal de Maroubra. Ele é o xerife dos Braboys. Eu posso falar xerife ou é ruim de falar xerife? Hã? Área dos Braboys, cara.
Aqui é a Maroubra, aqui é a praia dos Braboys.
E como é que é a sua história? Assim, você ficou amigo dos locais mais temidos da Austrália?
Sim, em 2001, quando eu cheguei na Austrália, um amigo meu de infância já morava aqui, o André Cine Lima e o Alex Prats, e eles me convidaram para vir morar com eles. E chegando aqui na Maroubra, a primeira pessoa que eu conheci foi o Jai Alberton. E através dele eu conheci o Sonny, o Kobe, e eles me apoiaram aqui. Arrumaram lugar para mim morar, o Kobe me fornecia a prancha para surfar. Quando eu cheguei eu não tinha dinheiro. E eu morei aqui na comunidade por 3 anos. O Alex Prats, quando veio para cá, começou a ensinar jiu-jitsu para eles. O Prats é professor de jiu-jitsu.
Um brasileiro que dava aula de jiu-jitsu aqui.
Sim. Ele
ensinava eles.
Ensinava eles. E o Prats conheceu toda a comunidade.
Oh, é ele, não é não?
Sonny, where are you, bro? Ué. Ok.
Tá lá ele.
Wait there, bro.
Vamos lá?
Vamos lá, então. O Sonny tá nos esperando ali no
Vamos ali.
agora.
Mas o cara é de boa?
Não, tranquilaço. Tá comigo. Tá em casa.
Tá comigo.
See you, man. How are you doing?
Really good.
How are you?
Hey, brother. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Sonny.
Gabriel. Nice to meet you.
Danny, pleasure to meet you, mate.
Nice to
How
meet
are
you.
you?